In 1205, in a crumbling stone chapel in Italy, a young man named Francis knelt before a painted crucifix. According to historical tradition, he heard a voice say, "Go, rebuild my house." For centuries, this event has shaped how people understand a religious vocation. We often picture a calling as a strictly private, solitary experience, a whisper heard only in the quiet of an individual mind. But Francis himself quickly realized his path could not be walked alone. As others began to join him, he wrote a profound realization into his testament: "The Lord gave me brothers." A Franciscan calling is never meant to remain a private secret. From its very inception, the authenticity of the call depends entirely on a community to receive it, test it, and live it. 800 years later, that need for community finds fertile soil in the cultures of Africa. Here, the lens of life is shaped by Ubuntu, the conviction that I am because we are, or that a person is a person through other persons. This matrix illustrates how the universal Franciscan value of fraternity translates into the African expression of Ubuntu. Through this cultural framework, vocation shifts from a self-generated identity to a gift received from God directly through the people around you. Because identity is shared, a divine calling becomes a shared resonance. The community, drawing on deep reverence for the wisdom of its elders, hears and discerns the call alongside the individual. The African cultural understanding of community does not overwrite the original vision of St. Francis. Instead, it expands it, taking the 800-year-old ideal of universal brotherhood and turning it into a concrete, lived reality. The journey usually begins with a physical encounter. A young man meets a Capuchin friar working in a local parish, teaching in a school, or serving the poor in a rural mission. This diagram shows the Capuchin habit's anatomy, a single-piece dark brown tunic with a continuous pointed hood. A three-knotted cord represents poverty, chastity, and obedience, alongside a mandated full beard. Laid flat, it forms the cross. Worn, the friar inhabits the cross. For many young men across East Africa, seeing this stark simplicity stands out. The distinctive, austere clothing, combined with the joyful presence of the friars wearing it, often moves a young man to ask questions and begin his own inquiry. That physical garment takes a quiet, internal curiosity and anchors it in the real world, turning a private thought into a public conversation. There is a well-known African proverb that says, "When you pray, move your feet." An internal calling requires physical action to test its truth. For a man inquiring about the Capuchins, moving his feet means formally entering the pre-postulant stage. This initial phase introduces the candidate to the daily realities of Franciscan life, a dedicated period of prayer, active service in a local parish, and careful, guided discernment, all happening before he makes any formal commitment to the order. The pre-postulant stage serves as a critical threshold. It takes the private spark of a vocation and exposes it to the oxygen of the community, waiting to see if it catches fire. During this time, discernment is an active group effort. Local friars, members of the parish body, and the candidate's own family gather around him. They observe his service, offer their wisdom, and help verify the authenticity of his calling. This shared journey echoes the Old Testament promise found in the book of Jeremiah: "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." In the African Capuchin path, discovering that preordained identity is a revelation. But it is a revelation that only becomes fully clear when a young man looks into the faces of his brothers. The pre-postulant phase is just the first illuminated step on a much longer timeline. It begins a lifelong path of formation, rooted in constant, shared dialogue. To become a Capuchin Franciscan in Africa means accepting that your ultimate yes to God is never spoken into a void. It is permanently held, verified, and supported by the community around you. So consider your own path. How did God first speak your name? And who was with you when you heard it?